The media is one of the greatest tools used to shift the minds of the mass population since its early beginnings by imposing a vision on viewers of how they should see things or literally how they can even see themselves. In fact, in countries like Germany under the reign of Hitler in the 1940s and even North Korea today have been known to use media for propaganda techniques to influence their own citizens. In knowing this, it makes us question, are we seeing things by design, or is it our own paranoia to think it's something deeper? Loved hip-hop producer turned fashion influencer Pharrell Williams now sits at the forefront in the war of the black male image and leaves us questioning, is his transition over the years just him being an artist or a bit more intentional? How did the guy go from showcasing his love for women to now dressing like one? What happened to Pharrell Williams' manhood? Pharrell Williams would first make mainstream noise when he and his production partner Chad Hugo of the Neptunes would team up with Jay-Z for the song I Just Wanna Love You, Give It To Me, and when his group NERD would release the album In Search Of in 2001. The producer from Virginia would get even more within hip-hop as he and Hugo would top hip-hop charts with hit songs they produced. It was at this time that Pharrell's skateboard culture influenced style would have him stand out compared to his hip-hop peers. Now, this move would hint that Williams was a part of hip-hop, but also open to doing things differently. Despite being different in style, Pharrell still displayed masculine traits that his male audience could relate to, like his mustache in the video, lap dance, and for someone like myself, as a young teen, Pharrell's display and love of beautiful women was easily something I can connect with. Now, Pharrell's looks and natural charm would put him on the list of desired bachelors during his early rise. And for many young men that didn't have the thugged out persona that hip-hop was known for, he was someone they can look up to, because he was still the guy who got the girls, as he was reported to have dated Vashti Kola, Khalees supermodel Karolina Kokova, and potentially a list of other supermodels. For many, being a man has always been tied to a man's desire of women, and the lifestyle Pharrell portrayed in his music videos and media positioned him as that guy. But then a shift happened. As Pharrell became better known for his style, and as he would fully delve into the business of fashion with his own clothing companies, he began to get deeper within the fashion community, which is mostly dominated by European culture. And this relationship appears to be where his God's guy image started to steer into blurred lines. In 2007, Pharrell would test the waters of mixing masculinity with femininity when he would debut a purple oversized Birkin bag. When asked about the bag, Pharrell would sum up the moment, "You can do what you want to do and be who you want to be." Now, despite debuting a large purse he would go on to call a travel bag, not many people would think nothing much of it. However, 8 years later, for his first ever luxury campaign, Pharrell would appear much more open with his stance on freely expressing himself. A part of a Chanel campaign in 2015, he would appear in an ad wearing a pair of laced-up green boots that for many resembled something women would wear. In another photo, a part of that same campaign, Pharrell could even be seen standing with what appeared to be an oversized pearl necklace. Online users would jump on outlets like Lipstick Alley to share their reactions to Pharrell's outfit, and even rapper Azealia Banks would cause an uproar when she captioned Pharrell's picture as "Puss in Boots." Pharrell's masculine persona would become in question. When asked directly about the Birkin bag and the Chanel boots in a cover story for GQ's ironically dubbed the New Masculinity cover, Pharrell would go on to say, "Well, I'm ashamed to say it was an aesthetic choice first. I liked something and I put it on. Then the philosophy came behind it. And I do have my lines, like I can't wear no skirt, nor am I interested in wearing a blouse. That's not my deal. But things that are made for women that I feel will look good on me, that I like, I will wear." As the conversation continued, he would directly address the conversation of when he became more open to express his more feminized version. "I think blurred lines opened me up. I didn't get it at first because there were older white women who, when that song came on, they would behave in some of the most surprising ways ever. And I would be like, wow, they would have me blushing. So when there started to be an issue with it lyrically, I was like, what are you talking about? There are women who really like the song and connect to the energy that just gets you up. And I know you wanted women sing those kind of lyrics all the time. So it's like, what's rapey about that?" And then I realized that there are men who use the same language when taking advantage of a woman. And it doesn't matter, that's not my behavior or the way I think about things. It just matters how it affects women. And I was like, got it. I get it. Cool. My mind opened up to what was actually being said in the song and how it could make someone feel. Even though it wasn't the majority, it didn't matter. I cared what they were feeling too. I realized that we live in a chauvinist culture in our country. Hadn't realized that. Didn't realize that some of my songs catered to that. So that blew my mind. And then here comes Happy, a record that I didn't write for myself that I ended up being on that made people feel happy. I wrote that song for CeeLo. I don't have the capacity to write that kind of song for myself. When I do songs for myself, they're always too complicated and too smart with 6 bridges because I'm weird like that. But when I do stuff for other people, that allows me to channel things for them. And so the universe set up the perfect conditions to get me to write a song like that. That made me cry. It literally made me cry. Like I was on the Oprah show for my birthday and she showed me a video of people around the world singing that song. And that shit fucked me up. Bad. I was never the same. So I don't beat on my chest. I haven't been the same since any of that music. According to Pharrell, the truest definition of masculinity is the essence of you that understands and respects that which isn't masculine. If you ask me, when we talk about masculinity, it's also very racial, this conversation, because the dominant force on this planet right now is the older straight white male. And there's a particular portion of them that senses a tanning effect. They sense a feminizing effect. They sense a non-binary effect when it comes to gender. The world of fashion has been known as an arena where blurred lines and sexuality exist the loudest. Homosexuality and overall fluidity has been celebrated within that culture, which is the same culture that now uses hip-hop for some of its relevancy. Before, rappers who never knew about Fashion Week now sit at the front rows of some of the biggest fashion shows. Pharrell and people like Kanye West appear to be the start of the most recent generation of rappers taking pics with Vogue's Anna Wintour. It is within this collaboration of fashion and hip-hop where more and more rappers are being open to fluid concepts, almost completely opposite to how black men were showed in the golden era of hip-hop, where all the pillars of what being a man was showcased over an instrumental. So as rappers dive deeper into chasing aspirational lifestyles, they get deeper within the grasp of high fashion and the world previously described around it. Former warriors now turn glam enthusiasts to showcase their artistry and wealth. And for conspiracy theorists, seeing black men choose a purse over a gun is much more preferred for the powers that be. Consider it a fair trade. The Eurocentric space of high fashion gives black men a place to feel elevated. In return, they get a chance to modify the black male image to something they subconsciously don't feel threatened by, as opposed to the warrior energy we not only had to display to survive the worst of America's past, but as men to position ourselves as leaders of our families. According to rapper Idi Amin, who was also of Tupac's Outlaws, hip-hop is becoming more feminine because it's a reflection of where we are in society today. What is Idi Amin's thoughts on rappers with nail polish?
I just think the culture as a whole, and hip hop is just a reflection of society as a whole, has becoming a lot more feminized. You know what I mean? And so you may say, the world is all about balance. So you got masculine energy, you got feminine energy. For a long time, hip hop was very masculine. You know what I mean? And it was, it was a boys club for a long time, and it was a sausage fest, you know what I'm saying? But because balance has to reign supreme, you're gonna get an overcompensation of feminine energy now to make a balance. It's like when the scales is tipped one way, and then hopefully one day it all get balanced. We'll have a balance of each. But right now, the feminine energy is definitely, dominating.
Now, despite Idi's claims, it still doesn't seem too far-fetched to think that several unseen factors can be a reason why certain rappers succeed and others don't. Pharrell appears to be just one example of the black male image shifting to become more feminized. And to frankly put it, the industry appears to have a fetish for making hyper-masculine black men a more feminized version of itself. In 2023, Jonathan Majors would spark a huge debate as he would become the latest black male actor to dominate Hollywood. Majors' physical physique would excite women and give black men an image of strength that they don't see as often in the media. But then in February 2023, Ebony magazine will release their cover with Majors placed in jean boots and wrapped in a pink fur cape. According to the stylist of the shoot, the inspiration for the look would come from anime character Don Quixote do Flamingo, serving as another example of fashion and the media influencing the black male image. The cover would go on to stir up controversy, and many within the culture would take issue with the new star being shifted to a more fluid look. Fast forward to today. Pharrell's career continues to grow, and his influence within fashion does the same, as he would become Louis Vuitton's men creative director in 2023. And it appears that Williams is very much getting closer to his more feminized self as he approaches his early 50s, as he has in recent times been seen with purses, women-shaped clothing, pink shoes, and other accessories far from the hip-hop landscape he would make a name for himself in. The father of four's quest to liberate himself and a few others appears to be his focus, but with the expense of the black male image being tampered with for those who feel strongly that it should be closely monitored, as we all have learned how media shapes the way we should see others and how we see ourselves. Pharrell's former image made me embrace the different side of me as a young black man, but honestly now I'm left in search of what we can even relate to.